In a revelation that has captured global attention, new claims regarding Greenland have ignited serious debate over just how close NATO members have come to potential conflict with one another, raising questions about alliance cohesion, national sovereignty, and strategic priorities in a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. As sources indicate that discussions within NATO and among individual member states have at times veered into scenarios where disagreements over territorial claims, military deployments, and resource control could have escalated into actual confrontation, particularly in light of Greenland's strategic importance in the Arctic, where melting ice, vast natural resources, and new shipping routes are transforming the region into a critical zone of both economic and military interest, and where the United States' historical desire to expand its presence in Greenland, including plans for military bases and strategic installations, has at times clashed with Denmark's sovereignty over its semi-autonomous territory, raising alarms among allied governments about the implications for NATO's collective defense obligations, the risk of internal disputes turning into open hostility, and the precedent it could set for other alliance members with conflicting national interests. As Greenland's geographic position makes it a linchpin in North Atlantic security, linking the continental United States, Canada, and Northern Europe, and providing a critical platform for early warning systems, satellite monitoring, and missile defense infrastructure, which means any attempt by one NATO member to assert unilateral control or establish a permanent military presence could have significant operational and diplomatic repercussions. A concern amplified by historical episodes in which disagreements among NATO allies over military deployments, intelligence sharing, and strategic priorities nearly led to heated standoffs, revealing that despite decades of institutional cohesion, the alliance is not immune to the pressures of national interests, competitive resource acquisition, and strategic posturing. As political analysts point out that the Greenland scenario is emblematic of broader tensions within NATO that have emerged in recent years, including disputes over defense spending, divergent policies toward Russia and China, and differing approaches to crisis management in hotspots such as Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. And while NATO's charter emphasizes collective defense and coordination, these provisions have sometimes been tested by the need for rapid unilateral decisions in response to perceived threats, where the strategic imperatives of one member may inadvertently put another at risk, with Greenland acting as a tangible illustration of how geographic, economic, and military factors converge to create scenarios where even historically cooperative states can find themselves on the brink of confrontation. As the U.S. has consistently regarded Greenland as a vital strategic asset since World War II, citing its role in missile early warning networks and Arctic surveillance, while Denmark has historically maintained sovereignty over the territory and sought to balance U.S. requests with the interests of its own people, including indigenous Greenlanders, whose political aspirations for greater autonomy and control over local resources further complicate decision-making, creating a delicate balancing act where diplomatic missteps or unilateral actions could destabilize not just bilateral relations, but also the broader cohesion of NATO. And this tension is compounded by the increasing geopolitical competition in the Arctic, where Russia and China are rapidly expanding their presence through military installations, resource exploration, and shipping infrastructure, prompting NATO members to reassess their Arctic strategies and reconsider how they manage territorial sovereignty, military readiness, and alliance solidarity simultaneously, leading to internal debates in which some officials reportedly feared that aggressive posturing by one ally could provoke another, potentially escalating into a situation that could have forced NATO to make difficult decisions regarding intervention, neutrality, or strategic compromise, all while maintaining a united front against external adversaries. And while no open conflict has ever occurred among NATO members over Greenland, the revelations underscore that the alliance has repeatedly navigated scenarios in which national ambitions, security imperatives, and the pursuit of strategic advantage could have collided with the fundamental principle of mutual defense. As planners and strategists in multiple capitals acknowledge that even within an alliance bound by shared values and common defense commitments, the complex interplay of geography, military capabilities, and political objectives can create flashpoints where close calls are more frequent than publicly acknowledged, particularly in regions like the Arctic, where climate change is opening new sea lanes, enabling access to previously inaccessible mineral and energy resources, and heightening the stakes for military presence and infrastructure. while at the same time, Greenland's indigenous government and population have increasingly asserted their own priorities, advocating for environmental protection, local economic development, and decision-making autonomy that can at times be at odds with the strategic ambitions of either Denmark or the United States, creating scenarios in which NATO's ability to enforce cohesion is tested not only by interstate disagreements but also by internal political dynamics within member states. As analysts note that the Greenland case is part of a broader pattern where NATO's unity is continuously challenged by the need to balance national interests with alliance obligations, where any misalignment of strategic priorities, intelligence interpretations, or military posturing could theoretically escalate into an incident with wider consequences. A concern echoed by retired military officials and diplomats who emphasize that while the alliance has survived numerous crises, the combination of high-stakes strategic value, competing national ambitions, and limited communication windows in the Arctic could have easily produced situations in which misunderstandings or unilateral actions might have risked triggering conflict. And even as public attention to Greenland's role has intensified, NATO's internal deliberations, contingency planning, and scenario exercises reveal a history of careful monitoring, crisis simulations, and diplomatic coordination designed to prevent escalation while allowing members to pursue legitimate strategic objectives, highlighting that the line between cooperative defense planning and potential conflict is often razor-thin, dependent on timely intelligence, trust among leadership, and adherence to established protocols. As the Greenland claims shed light on the unseen tensions that underlie military alliances, demonstrating that even among countries bound by treaties and shared security commitments, the pursuit of national advantage, control over strategic geography, and access to critical resources can generate scenarios in which the risk of confrontation is real, prompting NATO to continuously refine mechanisms for conflict avoidance, dispute resolution, and coordinated defense. And while historical documentation suggests that no NATO member has ever directly attacked another over Greenland, the internal debates, contingency plans, and strategic assessments reveal that the possibility has been entertained and that close calls have occurred, underscoring that military alliances, even long-standing and cohesive ones, must navigate a landscape where strategic imperatives, national ambitions, and geopolitical pressures converge in ways that can bring members dangerously close to confrontation, emphasizing that the Greenland episode is not merely a historical footnote but a critical case study in alliance management, risk assessment, and strategic diplomacy, illustrating that even in a framework designed to ensure collective defense, the combination of high-value territory, powerful member states, and competing national agendas can create flashpoints that require constant vigilance, rigorous planning, and robust communication to avoid escalation. And as NATO continues to adapt to evolving security challenges, the lessons from Greenland serve as a reminder that the alliance's strength is measured not only by its military capabilities, but also by its capacity to manage differences, respect sovereignty, and prevent conflicts among its own members, reinforcing the importance of diplomacy, transparency, and mutual trust as essential components of maintaining peace and cohesion in a world where strategic geography and geopolitical competition are increasingly intertwined. And in sum, the Greenland claims underscore that while NATO remains a powerful and largely unified alliance, even among its members there exist scenarios where national interests could have brought them to the brink of direct conflict, highlighting the delicate balance between collective defense, national sovereignty, and strategic ambition that continues to define the alliance's operations and decision-making in an increasingly complex global landscape.